Death Valley looks like a postcard from another planet. Salt flats that go on forever, mountains that glow at golden hour like they're lit from the inside, and silence, the kind that makes you feel like the whole world stepped back. People come here to reset, to feel small in a good way, to fall in love again, but the desert doesn't fix anything. It doesn't soften tension. It doesn't buffer conflict. It just removes the noise. And sometimes what's left is the truth. In January 2023, a Las Vegas couple drove to Death Valley and they didn't come home. I'm Heather Taylor, Las Vegas-based destination elopement and wedding photographer.
And I'm Savannah Campos, your marketing maven here for the tea.
This is Eloped and Exposed, where true crime energy meets wild elopements and stories no one tells. A quick content notice today before we begin. This episode includes death, domestic violence, and an apparent murder-suicide. We won't describe the method in detail, but we will talk about the reality of what happened. Listener discretion is advised. If you or someone you love is in crisis, you can call or text 988 in the U.S. for Suicide and Crisis Line. All right. Okay, Savannah. So when I say Death Valley, what comes to mind?
I think about driving into the desert and your car overheating. Right? That's like the main thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Hot.
It's super hot.
Pretty. Beautiful.
Overheating. In all the ways.
Definitely a dramatic backdrop.
Yeah. And couples really love that, which is why it is a great place for people to escape to. Weddings, elopements, engagement sessions. It's such a stunning backdrop. But yeah, I think anything, well, the way this spring is going, I wouldn't even venture out there right now. Like, it's probably already super hot. It doesn't get called Death Valley for no reason.
So true. So true.
But yeah, people really also love that it's kind of like far away from everything, which is great.
Yeah.
It's also far away from cell phone reception.
True. That part.
Which we've talked about in the past, which is like a nightmare.
Yeah.
This episode is kind of about like the myth of the reset trip. We've kind of talked about this before, like the getting away together to like, let's start over and like whatever. But this one is especially sad to me because it is an elderly couple.
Oh no.
Yes. So let's set the scene real fast.
Okay.
Death Valley National Park spans California and Nevada. It's a huge distance, limited services, huge stretches where your phone becomes like a optimistic thought
Right,
versus
okay, of
a
course.
reality. Visually, it's totally unreal. Badwater Basin, Artist Palette, Zabriskie Point, they're all just like cinematic, essentially. Like they're just, there's like no better word for it. You just look at it and you're like, how is this?
Yeah, it sounds perfect for elopement or wedding
stunning.
photography.
Yeah. But what really matters for this story is how isolating it is. It's just like nothingness. And while there are a lot of people that visit the park, it's easy to kind of like get away. So emotionally charged relationships plus isolation can act like a magnifier. This case fits the show because it's not, we're not talking about crime in the city. We're talking about people in a gorgeous place that can easily be romanticized and be like, it's off the beaten path, You can kind of hide in plain sight. So here's what was like publicly released about this story. On January 13th, 2023, an elderly couple, husband and wife from Las Vegas, Paul Fischer, who was 73, and Mary Fischer, who's 72, were found dead in Death Valley National Park. According to the National Park Service, Paul Fischer called in to the Inyo, I think it's pronounced, Inyo County Sheriff's Office, and said he had killed his wife and that he intended to kill himself, and then told the operator where to find them. So the National Park Service also stated he left a note in their car saying Mary was suffering from chronic health conditions. I feel like that's such an easy, like, I don't want to say cop out, but like, even if she was, like, she didn't leave a note. You know what I mean? Like, he was like, well, she was suffering, so.
Yeah, my gut reaction is that he's plotting.
Yeah, I feel like if this was like one of those like murder-suicide pacts, right, where it's like, we want to die together and he's going to help me end my life and then he's going to kill himself, like, there would be something from her.
You're going to prepare something, right?
Yeah. So, I don't know. I feel like this is, he frames it as like a mercy killing, but like, is it really,
This sounds a lot like the other story that we talked about, abandoning your wife on top of the mountain.
Right.
The Alpine divorce.
Yes.
This is the Las Vegas version.
Yeah. They just made it a little longer.
Yeah, right. Yeah, what? At 73?
Yeah, like, why? You don't even I don't know. That's just crazy to me. I don't know. I want to be careful here because when stories like this hit the internet, people rush to like moralize things, which I'm doing too, right? Like, I'm like, well, maybe it was, but it doesn't sound like it. I don't know. Our job is to hold both the truths, right? So chronic illness and caregiver stress can be real. I know, like, from not my own personal experience, but like my mom and my stepmom both dealt with being the caregiver of my dad and my stepdad. So like, I know how stressful that can be.
It's a big responsibility.
Just like secondhand stress, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but that said, neither of them ever became homicidal. So
Noted.
Yeah. And then like, violence is never an acceptable solution. I get it. You're in your 70s, but like, if you don't want to do the whole divorce thing, just like separate. Go your separate ways.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because sometimes divorce is just a lot, right? And if you're that old, not to say 70s old, but like, if you're in your 70s.
Remind me, how long were they together again?
That I actually did not look up, which would be a great thing to know. But like, either way, it's like, why you don't have to get a divorce. Normally I'd say just get a divorce, walk away.
But at 73.
But at 73, just walk away.
Just walk away and keep it. Who cares?
Like, yeah, it doesn't have to be.
There's more to the story. We need more.
So we don't have every personal detail, and we're not going to invent them. We don't know how long they've been together. But we can talk about what the location does to their story. When you're in a place like Death Valley, you realize geography doesn't just hold stories, it shapes them, which, you know, is kind of like why this podcast began, right? Like, because I want to showcase the stories that these epic locations really truly like shape into something even more, I don't want to say like tantalizing, but like that's kind of, you know, these are things that people don't talk about these stories, and it's kind of crazy that they don't, because they're set in these cinematic locations and like they are pretty crazy. So we got to bring them to light, you know?
Definitely. Okay, so the facts are clear from the authorities. We've got the information, but what do you think people do with a story like this online?
I mean, I think sometimes it gets just turned into like a cautionary tale. Sometimes helpful, sometimes harmful. But it always gets turned into a headline, you know? And Death Valley is a location people choose to symbolize something: freedom, escape, rebirth. It's kind of like one of those, it's just a special place, right? Like,
yeah,
obviously the name doesn't really say, it's not an odd name because it is so hot. It is like nothing can survive there in the hot months, but like it doesn't really fit the magical part of it. You know what I mean?
It's both.
Yeah.
It's definitely both.
Yeah. And when like a tragedy happens there, it hits harder because it is so beautiful, which is interesting. Like, why do we equate like this is more sad, or not more sad, but like it hits harder if it is somewhere pretty versus like, oh, we expect this from this part of this town or whatever. Like, it's interesting like how society kind of frames things like that.
Well, I think specifically to Death Valley, you think nothing's going on out there. So
Right.
It kind of is perfect for a murder, but also you think that there's not anything happening, no murders.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, until I heard about this one, I never did.
I wonder how many of these stories there are.
Right.
For
No,
just
real.
Death Valley.
For real.
Who even knows?
Let's pivot into something practical, because this podcast is about the places too. If you're traveling to remote parks, especially as a couple, here are a few real world don't be a statistic notes.
Give us the list, Mom.
Tell someone your plan.
Okay.
Don't be vague. Like, give them like the actual route. Even better, tell 2 separate friends or family members, whatever, that have nothing to do with each other.
That's a good idea.
So if something happens, police can go to different sources and they will see like it's not like a corroborated story.
Right.
Know where help is. Visitor centers, ranger stations, emergency numbers. Although we know emergency numbers can be, supposedly they're supposed to work even if you don't have service, but you know, just be aware.
Yeah, right.
Don't treat the desert like just a backdrop. It is an environment with rules. Also, always have water. That's a rule. And sunscreen if you're in Death Valley, for sure.
Yeah, definitely that.
And then if tension is high, don't add isolation. Come on. Like, this is like that, like, I hate to say it, but like the horror movie, like, the killer is running after you and you go upstairs.
Yeah, right.
Come on, people. You hide behind the chainsaws? No. Okay.
Also, just ask for the divorce.
Yes.
more that.
Yeah, more that. If you're in a relationship that's feeling strained, a remote trip can be just gasoline on the fire.
1000%,
Like,
yes.
because there's nothing. And unless you're like near a crowd,
Right.
there's really no buffer. And then you never know. Like, some people don't care about fighting in front of other people.
That's true. But I do think some people think that, like, you're going to go on vacation and come back better as a couple, right? Because vacation is so fun.
I think that's the hope. Yeah. I think that's always the hope.
How can you fight on vacation?
Right. But if there's enough tension or
Nothing
something
to
sets
do.
things off and nothing to do or whatever, like, then on top of it, you add in, like, like Death Valley. I'm trying to think if you can camp there. I don't even think there's campgrounds in there. But a lot of the national parks, like, you can camp or whatever.
Right,
and
right.
like, or even in a hotel. Like, if you add, like, say, having drinks together, not everyone is nice when they're drinking. Or sometimes they're nice, sometimes they're not. And, like, that, it's like when your inhibitions are, like, gone, people say and do things that sometimes you don't come back from. So, just get the divorce.
So, bring it back to your world, photographer brain.
Here's what I'll say. I photograph couples in places like this because it's stunning and it's intimate. But I also know these landscapes don't perform for you. They don't care if it's your honeymoon or your elopement. They require respect. And emotionally, big trips don't magically become romantic because the view is pretty.
The view cannot do a therapist job for you.
No, definitely not. And I think a lot of us, especially in the wedding world, sell the fantasy that a beautiful place makes a beautiful story. Sometimes it does.
Right.
Sometimes it exposes what's already breaking. Hopefully not, in my case, with my couples who want to go to these places and take photos.
Definitely.
But, again, bringing it back to this story, it can totally show the cracks even more. So, to round it all out, on January 13th, 2023, Paul and Mary Fischer were found dead in Death Valley National Park after authorities say Paul called to report he had killed Mary and intended to kill himself. The story isn't here to sensationalize. It's here because the place matters. And because romance and risk are sometimes packaged together in ways we don't question enough. If you have a story tied to a location, wedding, travel, true crime, submissions are open at elopedandexposed.com. Follow the show, leave a review, and share this episode with a friend who loves the dark history, wild love stories, and travel tips. Next week, we are staying in the desert, but we're going deeper into the myth-making machine that it is.
I'm scared. I'm excited. I'm seated.
All right. Love you. Mean it. See you
Say it back.
See you next Tuesday.